Nalisunga mashuine mu mutima wandi ine mandi ndafira kwela nalisunga mashuine mu mutima wandi ine mandi ndafira kwela hey wami wa mutima ukulesa wala wanshikisha ngale hey wami wa mutima ukulesa wala wanshikisha ngale nena kumona minasena kumanongo ningo kushamananga hey wami wanchalangale ilanga fukutimu nambaga kola nambaga kulesha shiti kumuchima wakelukile ilaku yekalate hey wami nakufira tena mutima wami hey wami oseza rubandi amina kana nyanga kukuleta nakufira tena mutima wami hey wami oseza rubandi amina kana nyanga kukuleta mami wandi nalisonga mashuine mu mutima wandi ine mandi ndafira kwela nalisonga mashuine mu mutima wandi.
That's what is doing your song.
That's right. Mami wandi nalisonga mashuine mu mutima wandi ine mandi ndafira kwela nalisonga mashuine mu mutima wandi ine mandi ndafira kwela yandabo creator yalo create before corner create before corner create before corner Katigiri kakana try to win it bro hey mwana kusimuna walalo hey mwana nikulesi kwa Joso kauta nona kafafutie hey happy nyalo hey wami nalisonga mashuine mu mutima wandi ine mandi ndafira kwela nakufira tena mutima wami hey wami oseza rubandi amina kana nyanga kukuleta Mwantakizana Msesa, Anton Samuhan, Dr. Robert Sakulanda, Commander John, LOT, Benzika Sepa, The Promise, Kabamba Peter Maskid.
Hello. Good evening, Chuempala. Good evening, world. Elias Munshya here on TVBAKWETU. And I am here with Dr. Jones Kasonso, PhD, CPA. and more letters. I can only read the ones that are appearing there. PhD CPA. Dr. Kasonso, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Munshya. It's good to see you. You're looking fabulous. I like your tie.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. I feel good about this tie. I really appreciate. Now, we today is 1st April, Dr. Kasonso. Amazing.
Yeah.
We are already in April. It feels like it was just yesterday.
Yeah.
So April 1st. So happy April Fool's Day.
Yeah, it's that Fool's Day joke on Vakwetu. Happy April Fool's Day to you too. You know, that Fool's joke that appeared on Vakwetu took me off. At first, I thought it was genuinely. So then I said, and I just went and posted silly.
Now, what was the joke about?
The joke, it said congratulations to the new ambassadors, Dr. Elias Munshya and and Murita now.
Yeah, of course.
Now. So then I realized it's April 1st. So then I said, silly.
Yeah. There is always, we always have people who have all these jobs lined up, and it's very surprising to say what's going on, and stuff like that. Anyway, it's Friday today. A lot has happened. Here in Alberta, the government intervened a little bit. Now, the prices of gas are still very high, but they intervened a little bit, but it's still high. So I was feeling it at $1.57 per liter. Now, of course, in Americas, you use something different, but I was using liters today. And so I think the prices are still high, and so are they in Zambia. But there is a huge uproar regarding gas prices in Zambia, and so I wanted us to have a short discussion about that and see whether we can help educate our people about what exactly is happening.
Excellent, Dr. Munshya. It's the same thing here. President Joe Biden yesterday actually has used emergency powers to release 180 million barrels of oil. And that's going to be done every day, 1 million barrel released, as if the country is producing 1 million barrels every day to just contain as a stopgap measure. But what happens here in the United States is that the government does store the petroleum to use for extended periods of time in reserve. So when there are emergencies like this, then they release it. So it's a global phenomenon that's going on. And we need our people to understand that the fuel prices are higher by 4 kwacha per liter in Zambia. In some of these countries where we are living, they're a little bit even higher than that.
Right.
So it's a global phenomenon that is happening. And this could not, you can't take the promise of the president that he will reduce the cost of fuel when he gets into power and hold him to change the world. The president stood for president of Zambia, not Jesus Christ, not Lord of the earth. What has changed is a landscape in which the oil business industry around the world, because of Russia's decision to go and invade another country. So other countries are afraid that Russia will invade that country to move to another country. We have to stop Russia now. So the reason they impose sanctions on Russia and the removal of that chunk of oil from Russia. And these countries refusing to get any of Russia's oil because they think that if they pay for Russia's oil, Russia is going to fund the war to be taking over another country and killing women and children in another country. And Russia is going to actually come and invade even these other countries. So we have to stop Russia now because Russia is taking countries over. So about blue Europeans, Russians, my Europeans. Eba baberengeyo program bekala nabo. Eba lete. So no babaleka no kushita fuel yaba Russia. So if fuel yaba Russia, it is available, but baleka no kushita. Ere mufere fipina te kwesho ku imano ku yakatakulira oil ka economy gendo kubasalira. Over it this ni blue wabo. Aleke okupoke fialo.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you feel denga, need oil, a chunk of oil that Russia produces. Russia is a big producer of oil and gas. That removal of that from the market or the refusal to take that oil is that now what causes the price to spike up in every country around the world, including the United States.
Yeah, including now Alberta is the oil producing country in Canada. We produce oil, but even here, mtengo wa gas le chia kumilandu, and it's quite a distance, over an hour drive, and so nachia nachpasuka kwa timbike ko to gas. Nasanga, it's $1.57, $1 Canadian dollar 57 liters. No, but if we are not used to such prices, kunoko Alberta. Okay, the highest in Alberta that you can buy is $1, $1.07, $1.07, $1.08 shan filia. At one time last year, research that dropped to about 70-80 cents per liter. And so as an oil producing nation, we've been hit, and so that is pretty terrible. Number Vakasonso, I want you to answer this. Why can't we just subsidize? Why can't we just borrow some money somewhere and then subsidize in Zambia?
The first reason I'll give is a political one, but it's a fact. The reason why we can't subsidize right now is, number one, because of the borrowings of Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Inkongole mwakongola shata mulipire. Era mwachafye. Shira chita prevent capacity ya kuya mkongwela pona shimbi.
Okay, right.
At the end of their presidency, vali sena default kulipira loans ko baringiro kulipira. So mu global economy for chala ngata mulipire nkongole. Takula wenga mkongweshe ndalama. Konsoko mule mkongweshe ndalama shiba mkongwesha kaloberea ko sapono mutengo expensive loans yako batamwaka balipira. Bakesa chitano kusapo kechalo. So that is the number one reason. The debt stock ya Zambia yalikulisha. And related to that is nakulia kuinoko baleshta oil. Bali shire kwa nkongole. Nakulia kuinoko baleshta oil bali shire kwa nkongole. So okuya kuli bali abantu kuya mkongwela pona shimbi. Either mwala nakabu fina kambi o nomba balai batishi mwala kongola nakabili. Nomba mtengo walaida po mwala kongola at a higher price. So because ukucha subsidize means borrowing money.
Right.
But in Congo sha Zambia shari fikomu mwebantu bakwaleza.
Abantu balanda fiat subsidy means kabia nife mweshe komtengo wa fuel, but it's not that simple, isn't it?
No, it isn't that simple. You have to borrow money to pay for that. Ile balanda wa government that bafunya kwa yama subsidies. Bali pangire strategy based on the geopolitical factor. If you are parili anjita, takuwa li Ukraine war awe, takuwa li ne imitengo tule pitamo wonsina kunuku America awe. So this is a global crisis, you know. So ili wala ili atubaka chinja ko imitengo fya baka bosha ko panshi baka tsanefi. Chile yota chile expire. Baba voted for 5 years. So apakwa wako misa apakwa wako problem. Ewo fya baba Munshya mu global economy. The bad events that come are very often in the long term compensated by the good events.
Okay.
So tatufilo losing a hope kwa tichalo chala hapo lelo awe. Losing a hope kwa tichalo chala hapo lelo. We have had that problem. The government planned as the priority kuchita managing Congole. So that tukwateko ama spaces yaku afurisha po abantu abekala chalo. So the wale focus pa kuchita filetefo ero chaisa vapone ne chiriwo chikuru pa mutwe inkondo ya Tampa. So ubuteko ngana na kushikefa musango file bufuire tabupangira ama decisions aya drastic nangu yamo muima mwa ya Kongola mui session ya nefintu akoke nakamutengo mwarunda kolunda niko panono muka kontole mule tambe fintu yo it's like pamusebo mwero mwasa pamusebo mwafika pa mshila wa mabambu driver tafuyo yokulekera kwa kuchidrive pama potholes yes driver tafuyo yokulekera kwa kuchidrive
afuira aikatirira
namutekenya namutekenya atekenya bwino mumabambu. This is a bump in the life of our country, and this is a bump in the life of the world. We are going to overcome this.
Okay. Number abengi bamo baremona kona kalemo tulelumbanya fiat pantu twali batemo bahichirema chachi no kubatemo twali batemo
abalenge no kuba tutemo hichirema ni bena yonse tomfati nabamwikata yonse tomfati nabamwikata kashi utata chichi bamwikatira twamba no kumushira nomba uyo wala mwikata kwati Yesu Kristo wakaele. The love we have for that guy came from them, what they were doing to him. So if you have kuchana love mwisaka manapo londolo ina chisha balema kwa tubate menwafye
kwati tubate menwafye ati so we can't see anything wrong, but this is not something if yakoba tumwine aipangira te kanonga aiva ngachakutira at new p and at vaiva at vaichire mavaiva will be on them. They go fine. If ifichitike fye across the globe imitengo na shia pamulo elo nokulondora mwalondora bakasonso kwebati ngakuchita subsidize kuya mukukongola ati no kwa kukongola kwali kwa pantu bali kongola sana balungu bali shinkile future ya Zambia bala batata balanga kwa fino kubeka tamwa weka muzuwa bantu bali mukubatamba ko kubapanika ngikuchawa mapwecho bali shinkile nshira ya Zambia na mona crisis tulepitamu kuma last few kupata wala fuma kwa china covid ya isha ya ipa abantu ba brulwe subanga ichalo bala tekanya pakuteka ba munsha ichalo tekuteka fye chiteke awe tekuteka fye chiteke okay nomba gatwakonka nefyo aba nenso baleranda pantu kwena iridyashi taliri neutral mwamuno bwafya aba PF tabekere pofyo ko bati yo bomfu ko bati fintuta na fishupa around the world but naba konkania poko bepa what are your views about it actually over from the PF yo ba PF ati naba mbokulanda ati they were better
okay na mweshiwe cha wamishapo ba Munshya bali wa abantu icho aleta Mzambia democracy mule kushatwale irishanya pali democracy yes ba PF bapumbuyeso but bapumbuyeso but mulando ale tutekera muri democracy teuteko wa Putin ngawalanda kuhoya kulisha sumu wala songulika kwa chinkubali so muri democracy lakini ba PF no balelanda okay so mulamuna mufi balelanda nabena balesambirila because when they speak ultimately they'll go back and listen to what they said and they will know the true fact with time. They will learn something. They will also grow. But PF, they were led by very Dao leaders. They were led by very Dao leaders.
Therefore, Dao. Namwalanda Dao. Dao yamano yachifiali ruwanangu Dao.
Nala yako zamano ya kwalesa. Because zamano ya kwalesa
itapo Dao. No muntu pantu napono pene muri imo baka sonso na ine. Kwali ba doctorate degree. Umuntu alenjisa Dao. Mwamona? So emo mulela ndiroko bati muntu aliba Dao nangu mulela ndira mwesa.
Dao yo ndela ndapo. Nala wika fiati Dao kushkwata mano ya kwalesa. Ine Dao yandi. Because the mano ya kwalesa yambi yafuma kuchifialirwa. Yambi yafuma kuma boku. Yambi yafuma kuma nove.
So fiance ifeta kwadi?
Awe takwadi. Because vena abantu nga balela ndefi nishikuye mkuba puma mkubekata so bale chasa press na bantu kulanda. So bale kena beno ba PF bene balelanda. So limbi echile chala afako ne chalo ukuchita understand why they did things the way they did. Every time na chibuka chelo na chila mfaba kampiongo pa Phoenix. Na isa vula nde mfaba bazo kapula kumbeko bachibeta kushun Diamond. Na isa muna bakambwiri pashani. We no mulopa wa Isaka bandi no these days I have BP. So mlemana nde onda konokonda kwa because I have to avoid certain activities so that mbwesheko blood pressure. So mubi wa Isaka baso na isa biko 223 mkodi. Freeze ilo no manambo kutunero BP hapo na kopanshi.
Okay. Number no mulechita pespaya na sana. Is it connected to that? Nagumulifyo mwakaba.
I think it may be connected to that, but today I have to land. I think but it challenged at the point. Yeah. So, but anyway, now my blood boiled because they were giving me understanding why they made decisions the way they made.
Right.
they lacked both natural wisdom and technical know-how.
Right.
Yeah. You know, vasatavalelanda chamano amanu anyway, I will not quote him verbatim. You can get wisdom from anybody, but they were oppressing the dissenting voices, so they never heard the people. Right. So the New Dawn government should not do that. But then they will give us understanding even why they made certain mistakes. Certain mistakes were honest mistakes. Honest mistakes is this. If you made a decision based on if we shive,
okay.
Tete tulandi ati oyutata mupopo arife mukopo. Because taishive.
Right.
Yeah, so we have to be able to let the people talk, but we have to listen to their wisdom. But we have to come repeatedly and confront them, because if you give balanda, tualeka no kukana. Kwa ifo kutupepeka, kwa tuale lembera po no kulembera. Ngawaya berenga kushwa PF na bakushirense. So it's okay. Let them talk so that they can receive education in these exchanges. But our late deka, tabafuli balekera kuchidrive tata. Mwamfayama. Tabafuli balekera kuchidrive. Bafuli bashipa. They should be on the right track. You know, change to take back one issue. Let's discuss pali ba Zesco kuya mkushite fimuti ku South Africa na ku Zimbabwe. Number one issue pano pabakwetu makamaka pali patrisa pa 1-on-1. Twalivinda ti chintu cho tukwete muzambira tufuyo kuya chitakombi.
No,
yeah, twalikana ifo pabakwetu pano. So, uweva twakwete pa festival kwena muzambira tamuli fimuti. Okisa mfonkalata twaimona pa headline ati iwe fimuti takuli. Wa supply for tunono. But nafutu wapokera na imbi nkalata later, itwalanda pali nkalata limu. Ero nomba, look at what the outcry was about Munshya. Machumfwechi konja kwena mwelesa, you have to do something to help this country. Na tisa mfoba ya mabachimba. Bambo kolondolo kwa batama business sectors, kwa liba manufacturer, distributor, wholesaler, kwa na retailer and things like that. You don't say business sectors. If we have a functional, it's a developed economy. And then I said, are you thinking in English for me? Could you call me Form 5? Take a Zambian Form 5 level education, not 21st century. Those are segments.
First, Lorere Nimbale. Ati tetuteke chalo na Form 5 civics and commerce mwakana sana.
Wakana. Because you're thinking about
so bakambwira ife bachiralanda fyaba Form 5.
Fyaba Form 5.
Nomba imwe amuti tetuteke chalo yo ni fyaba Form 5.
Mu 21st century afyakana.
Okay.
So fyabachirapenda fya. Nintu anikani. It's a supply chain of a particular product. They are not business segments. We know from apprentice degree university degree. That's what okay, masters we know that you cannot run a country on that kind of thinking. But entrepreneurs are we. But no kulilati yo over Zesco, ngabali ngilo kuita abena Zambia tuompa nito abena Zambia tule eto hayashita ama logs mu Zimbabwe. What's the distance between Zambia and Zimbabwe? Do you
from Lusaka to Harare? It's a day's travel. I think it's between 400 and 500 kilometers, if I'm not mistaken.
Does the company in the 21st century need a middleman there?
No.
HOVale fire trucks here $250,000, probably $1 million, because vale vika ava tenderpreneur. Elo nomba vala beta entrepreneur. So
Emma businessman varipo.
Yeah, Emma businessman varipo. Everybody chita. Bali kama ema businessmen bali but bali businessmen baba nabo. Baya sa create ka program mu government. Ero bapela banabo. Ero banabo basa pinguro buti baya lengere mitengo kulia. Ero banabo basa pinguro buti ko by twice the price, or even in this case, fire tenders, 4 times the price. Ero baya shita. Ero baya supply government at that higher cost. So government's costs were higher for anything that was bought by those tenderpreneurs. Now, there are 3 problems with those tenderpreneurs. 1, they are instruments and vehicles of corruption. 3, that is not entrepreneurship you can use to grow an economy. 4, because that is not a sustainable business thing, they need to perpetually go on forever. They don't develop businesses that last. So,
vakapala Peter Chibwekapala.
Peter Chibwekapala. But shall claim party vinka, but claim perform.
Narami pera namba yao. Vakapala, Vabulu wenu vaka sonso vara mitumina phone lero.
Mwe putefete mwe kwa chiwe mutiti ewa tiramtumina. Yeah, so anyway, ever chale abantu bale imema prices ya government. But they were living off of those contracts, and that's where rampant corruption was happening. So the contractor that the government needs to pay is the one who is providing a product directly to the government, not the middleman. The entrepreneur is not the person who organizes a business deal with the government. The entrepreneur is the one who organizes a business process to supply a product to the customer. The entrepreneur, managing directors of our companies, small business owners, and all those kind of things. Those who organize the process of delivering a product or a service to a customer. So, Ababa tenderpreneur bachila itabachimba kambuyetu my entrepreneurs ama small business. No. Alete ma business to for Mozambique. Kabiye ni mukulima mulete ama soya beans supply kuri bazaire. Kabiye ni mukuta build ama products supply ama nuts kuri ba mine. Go and do something that produces a product or a service.
Not okay. Now, Mwalanda, something important, because Mwalanda, because of the problem with the tenderpreneur process, Mozambique, it produces nothing, and so it continues to perpetuate itself. So for you to continue that cycle, kula weke shapo, the same thing over and over again.
Yes. And
so because the new door now cuts it, everybody feels stranded. Like
yes. And they are in a good place. That's a powerful place to be. Because umuntu wonse ngaba muri ya place tefyo. Klesa ali bike chintu muri chikema kufua ifya kuchita. And then 2, ama kosi ya buteko. Zesco, ile bale mkushita mapozi kule. Kuli Zesco, Zesco tabaya mkushita mapozi kule na America. Kwa tipari poi mwale ili hapo na vena $10,000. No. That is a raw material. In any business model of Munshya, raw material, if we have as low as possible, so that the end result or end service that you can produce can be an economical service to the people. So people were wondering why the bills were exorbitant, Zesco and things like that. My suppliers were so so if you are thinking, this is the way to do it. Because if the government gets those things at cost, whether in Zambia or abroad, but they get them at cost without tenderpreneurs in the process, then without factoring in the cost of corruption, without factoring in the cost of anything else, then it is possible to produce electricity at a cheap price to Zambian households. And the Zambian households are the real stakeholders of the country, not tenderpreneurs. President Alande, today I found the true meaning of it when I see the protestations of tenderpreneurs. Kateke Rafkirepa Airport, Alande, quali click of thieves who live off of the government. Ma tenderpreneurs since independence.
So everybody start panga fyo twampanyo tuine nika tenderpreneur costing fin tufide apamulu, and yet nabene they're not even becoming wealthy, right? They're not producing anything for the country.
Madilu fe bachita. In fact, going forward, talk about that dealpreneurs. Madilu fe bachita. Madilu. Okay.
Number. So to a Zambian right now who is objecting to what Zesco has done, but here is also another aspect. Yeah, kwabati tumwana kwati twalikwata efin tukanchita twakwata mamono bwafya, because sometimes tumwana twalikwata efimu tim Zambia, when in actual fact twalistafe create a certain perception kwati twalikwata, and yet we don't. I don't know how I can explain it.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
And in fact, I don't know, I don't want to preempt any discussions further here on TVBAKWETU, but we need to be honest. If we are saying at Twalikwate Fimuti Zambia, how Fiale Pashan, one.
So Fili.
Two, Filipi. Number Tekulanda Fiat Twalifumona Pasabina. That's not enough. That's not how you develop a country. Tekulanda Fiat Twalifumona Pasabina. No. How tall are they? And what specifications do the people of Zambia need to have electricity connected to them?
Yeah.
Because that's important. Because if you do a fee nono and then you throw money patu nono, it will become much more expensive for you. Like Zesco. If Zesco must buy if he mutifi nono from the copper belt, that's very small. It's going to be expensive. It's going to be expensive for everyone. So are we honest as a country?
No, just try for Komaira Ponachena Munshya. Buena Zambe Ture Kwatako Uchishinka. Because in the global economy, everything is transparent. Ngabakusanga na utakinga kabufi. I'm a business dealers, Bobby. They will never trust you. And they will exclude you from business dealings. We have to be honest as a country. Okay. Nachimone Zambia Shanuko Times, Business Times. Now it's a publisher to the company. The
company Landirati, Zesco should not go 500 kilometers to get those things in Zimbabwe. At now, at Kwate Fimuti, they can supply to Zesco.
Kabiba Fukope Fimuti. Bafikope Fimuti, to Fimon of Fimonic Papum Colania, but Zesco to us Mishoka Zimbabwe to Aladon. Ugutuala Quacha, Kusta dollar, by Kononke Charo, each other in a way, on a wheel if you could Sungu. That was mentioned for because, but I'm a guys in our Fimutinshi, I'm much to Yava, Zambia, Yamoneka. Okay. What is just needed are chemicals for the trees. But Ngabali panic.
Yeah, so Nombakanshi. Okay, if we don't have a FIMUT, what is the next thing that we need to do?
We must not interfere with the operations of Zesco. Isumission company, Ipongoloke. Zesco, yari buying incumbent for many years. To fund my political campaigns, to manage my girlfriends overseas, our politician. I repeat my expenses. Related to the energy. Zesco has got challenges, but it is our national company, and the benefits we should get from there should not go to tenderpreneurs and should not go to costs that we shouldn't pay. The company of that sort should only purchase items from another country out of necessity.
Okay. So I just want to open up because the lawyer Kakana, I just want to open up. So dear listeners, we have Professor Kasonso, like we've never had him before today. And so we are trying, if we as TVBAKWETU, our job is pretty simple. If we tulandira kofi abantu epela enchito yesu. Tatwa fisoko we support the UPND. But ngachakutira mwambo okuba nyantirira ba UPND na bakateka okubala babepeshe fintu ifyo tabachiti.
No tukapa chave.
But at the same time, we want structural solutions, not if you are kulanda landa fie, you know? ne fifine kuba that business at ma tenderpreneurs ba kelenka baya pango to ma company ero to ma company to reach the produce if ifyonse they're just there efirandire teine yo mwimbe ni baka sonso ebalandiro ko but these tenderpreneurs they don't produce anything. All they do is they're middlemen, and as middlemen all they do is steal and make things expensive for the people of Zambia and for the government. Zesco, 60,000 backlog, Bakasons, connections.
We are could share on we need energy.
Backlog.
We need energy.
60,000. It means, okay, 60,000 connections. It means that if we were to divide it by every district, in some machine, in Bomfia for common sense, in some machine Shaba Mosana, so Bomfia calculate.
Common sense
divided by one. How many districts do we have? 116 districts in Zambia, which means every district in Zambia is running behind by 517 connections. Today, 517, every district. 60,000. What it means is, if we are connecting one connection a day, it will take 60,000 years, 60,000 days. If we are connecting 500, it's a huge backlog, Mwevantu.
Yeah, we. But perengo efficiency na bantu. Bantu wakati kuna murao kunchito.
All right. Okay.
Kuna load shedding.
Echepe kuna load shedding. Ba Chilufya, Mr. Chilufya.
Yes, Munshya, Debomba, so shabika po picture.
Number tenderpreneurs, number in neule bombo kunimbika po picture. Na inemfumiepo. Okay,
no. Because fuere kauni. Debombela kunganda.
Don't go into details, Bachilufya. To apapata. Imokula ndafiati nshafike po picture. No, muya into details ukutulondo lwera wino mulimo mulebomba. Bachilufya, if you bakasonso balondo lapa fyako but and you have one-on-one with him on Monday, and I think you pick up on this one.
Papa Monday today kumigodi.
Abama tenderpreneurs aba. That's what they were surviving on for the past 10 years.
Yes, Bakasonso. Yes, Munshya. Zambia, Munshya. You remember I mentioned yesterday that there was no political will. Avena Lungu, Nibaka Wolala. And they encouraged Abama tenderpreneurs because they are dealer. You know, Valeria more inflating our contracts, supplying our government institutions, Zesco, the Minister of Health. They are the two biggest cash cows. Munshya, I am a pause at Randapoya. Sata Aristress stop. I'm a pause. I think worth about 2 million from South Africa or Zimbabwe. We're talking of 2011 or 2012. So, Munshya, problem to Akwata, we knew that there is a problem of Amalogs I have a Zesco. 10 years ago, when SATA stopped the tender, Puma tenderpreneurs, but it's the overpriced. Then there was a public outcry, just like this one. And then you know how SATA was. He went and intervened. And he was the supplier? The GBM. So now, Munshya, if we knew that we had this problem, why didn't we improve capacity as a FICO?
Because I think, and Bakasonso will agree with me, because at the fundamental issue is that we don't want to do the hard job.
No. The only thing about Munshya that is going to develop Zambia is producing. Yes. And the quickest production now is agriculture. So we need to start investing in production. But Munshya, if we are producing Amaposia to Ashtana treat, why should we go to Zimbabwe? And why should an entrepreneur be buying Amaposia from Zimbabwe to Zambia? Because Munshya, how come How come we don't have a big, a proper pharmaceutical company in Zambia? It's because
Tenderpreneurship.
India at a cheaper price.
Yeah.
Drugs. No quality control, but all they want is to make 1,000% profit at the expense of the Zambians.
And so once you corrupt an economy in that fundamental way, it's difficult for an economy to recover.
It's very difficult. It's a cultural issue. Also in Zambia, Munshya, when I went to Lusaka 2016, most of them briefcase at we are suppliers. Minister of Lands, Minister of. I said, what kind of a country is? Because Munshya, the day diesel is more expensive to Zambia than petrol, that's when we will know that Zambia has to develop. Because diesel means more production. More production,
yeah.
So UK, diesel is more expensive than petrol.
Even here.
No, but Zambia, diesel is cheaper than petrol. Then which means there are more luxury cars than business cars. What do you mean by business cars?
Tenderpreneurs and so Mulusaka and they put everybody under pressure.
And that's why there are traffic jams.
This is why now, even when it comes to wealth, we need to begin interrogating conceptions in Zambia about wealth. Yeah. A person walks at Nashta, a very luxury vehicle. Hello, Mwamwipsha. What production are you involved in? What service are you involved in?
I'm a supplier to Minister of Health.
I remember.
We need to start boasting about having a hammer mill, having a tractor, having an harvester. You know, Munshya, having a warehouse or having a tomato production company, adding value to tomato, making puree.
Yeah, you're right.
But Munshya, the problem which was there was all these things couldn't have been done because of Vakelenka.
Yeah. No kuiba kwine no kulia kutuwalia finga mushekanshi te ulufumo twakwalumo na kanwa twakwatakamo. So no
Munshya, this creed taitampirele lwawe. Ya tampa 20-30 years ago. It was there, but it became worse after the second term Yakwachiluba. During the second term Yakwachiluba, going forward. Yasabana worse. Kulimwana wasa yasa chita reduce. Yasabana worse in the last 10 years.
So today, in summary, Vakasonso, because we've had Vakasonso today like we've never had him before. I know he has his own program with you on Monday. Nomba na inepa Friday ni mbeba Vakasonso, njebele Vakasonso iseni mulondolole. Nomba balondololo kwebati gas, it's a worldwide phenomenon because kulinkondo Putin alelwa naba nanko abasungu.
Yeah.
Munshya, can I say something about gas? Munshya, gas ni all over the world. If we gas number ni £1.70 now, which is almost 40 pounds a liter, 40 kwacha a liter.
Yeah.
Even by UK, they are not putting subsidies. They can't afford.
Yeah.
You know, so it's expensive everywhere. But Munshya, the point is, this is when now government needs to start thinking greener. We've got a greener ministry. You know, Munshya, you saw the car when you came to UK. I drive an electric car. I only spent £30 a month on fuel.
Yeah.
So we need to go greener. We need to go greener. We need to start thinking about the green economy now, Munshya. A lot of by UK, if you buy a greener car, they will give you a subsidy of about £5,000.
All right. Okay.
And then Munshya, the other thing I wanted to say to talk about, tender Zesco. You know, there is a company. I've even seen the article number logs. There is a company which is saying na bakwatama logs with the specification by Zesco by fire. They even had a meeting na Zesco, but Zesco didn't want to buy from them. So that's one thing we need to investigate. If that is true, then Zesco shouldn't go to Zimbabwe and South Africa.
We need to be truthful in Zambia. If you are kulandalanda fie, I don't think Zesco in their right mind would have a Zambian company logs and go to buy from Zimbabwe.
That's what we need to investigate.
Not in this kind of government.
No, I really doubt it.
Yeah, but the point is, if there are no logs in Zambia, Zesco should go and buy Zimbabwe and South Africa. But then we need to start thinking long-term now. What is the long-term solution?
We need to grow our
own. You have to ask me about Munshya. Sorry to come in. I think in terms of logs and trees, the problem is if it logs in terms of timber, trees and the specifications.
No, where do we have it? How many kilometers is it? How many?
Iyo theory tutraikani nanichi. Umwene atinatukwate fimuti kuzambia. Ayakope fyo fimuti. Filifinga ubutari bilichani. Alete ama facts twalakanya. Nama phone twalatu. Matwalatu mana ba youth kabini pamusebo bimusenda malogo kusambia kwa yali.
That's what we are saying.
One of the things we don't want to do is for our government to be putting pressure on the currency, getting stuff that we have. If you papa kwetu tualikana.
Yes.
But ingatatukwe let's increase energy so that to increase productivity ya chalo.
The thing is, I think the problem is we have not had we've not had that kind of situation where our locals have been empowered to do those things. You can have the trees, but you don't have the power to cut those trees. Because if you tell it like you don't have the chainsaws, you don't have all things, but if you need over here, we can supply Zesco, but we don't have the capacity to do it. You see what I'm saying? So, look, Zambia is a large country, very unexplored, very, very unexplored. There's so many trees all across the country. They've got the capacity and the machinery to go and...
Here's what Karika Piri is saying, Bachanda. Just a second. Munshya, we don't have enough pine or eucalyptus trees in Zambia. Chichele, Chati plantations have been depleted. Trust me, timber or planks for roofing is now more expensive than steel. Recently, people are importing pine from Makambako in Tanzania. Let no one bluff. The post can be found. In any case, Zafiko is well placed to tell the truth, which I believe they've given the position to government. We don't want, it's not enough. What we want is a difficult conversation among us as citizens about what we have and what has gone wrong in the past.
And what we don't have.
Otherwise, we will continue saying that if it were required, when in actual fact,
Zesco cannot operate on that, Munshya.
And we are looking at reducing the backlog. If we really had all this wood for the past 10 years, how do we have the 60,000 backlog of connections? A huge disaster at the hand of Zesco. It's a disaster. Number abantu batampoko kulachita corrective into. I think instead of trying to undermine them, let us try to see if Zesco can get this post from Zimbabwe and connect 60,000 new connections, then let it be.
Yes.
Because I think that 60,000 new connections, in fact, caters for more people. Assuming that one connection is catering for 10 people in a household, it's a huge chunk of our people who have no electricity connections. And every day we are talking about Zesco being expensive. And yet, when Zesco tries to lower the cost by going directly Mukushita and cut out these tenderpreneurs, these thieves, we are still saying no. And yet, when these thieves get the money, what they do is they get it and go and misuse it somewhere.
But Munshya, can I say something? You remember when we started talking?
We were answering Bachanda, so I want to give Bachanda another opportunity. Bachilufia, once ni Chilufia. Alain, once ni Bachilufia. Every family has either Bayama Obe ni Bachilufia, Bawiso ni Bachilufia,
no
Bachilufia, Bano Column ni Bachilufia. Every member.
I was going to say
Mukwai, it's this issue is actually a very important issue, but I truly believe, you know, that we don't need to go to Zimbabwe. We don't need to go to any other country.
No.
We don't need to do those things that we do.
No. Now, today, to clear the 60,000 backlog, we don't need to go to Zimbabwe.
Well, today, on an immediate response, maybe we don't need to do that. But in the future, what we need to do is let's locate all these where all these trees are, because they are there. I can tell you.
What you were saying is that today we don't need to buy logs from Zimbabwe in order to clear the 60,000 connection backlog we have.
No. I'm saying today we do not need to do the Zambian way, like to go to the local suppliers right now, because there's no capacity to do it.
Frank,
it's okay for them to go to other countries.
But Frank
now, that's for now.
We thought about the fact that maybe if you to lay for Nifibale put out our PF no kulash to shop my Chinese. Okay, thank you. Now, Shafaka question.
Mukula.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Sorry, just for now, yes, we can do that. We can go the route of going outside, but in the near future, let's look at the local situation and see where our trees are, because they are there for a fact. Sorry.
What surprises me is that everyone keeps talking about the Zambian way of doing things. There's not been a successful Zambian way of doing things. So what I want you to know is, where is this Zambian way of supplying things come from? Because there was something that Dr. Kasonso has spoken about today. It was just people creating middlemen who are not necessary, and these people are making money out of. So there's not been a successful Zambian company that has been tendering anything to the Zambian people. So that need to be created. So we're speaking like there are already a lot of Zambian successful companies that have been doing this. The people who are getting tenders for the last 8 years were all PF cadres. That was their way of making money. So then there were no successful suppliers. So that needs to be in place. And we talk about long-term goals. What is a short-term solution now? What is a solution now before we find the long-term goal? We go where the plies are. And the last point, Dr. Kasonso has asked a question. If these trees are there, why can't someone go and take a picture and say, these are the trees we have, that's the amount we have, there they are, and there is the evidence. What everyone is saying is got trees.
Now, Mr. Frank Saliki, we just want to be using appropriate honorifics for everyone, because Tachimone Kabuino, we are calling you Frank, and then someone else we are saying something else. So, Mr. Saliki, you see, the issue sometimes is we just say, okay, picture, but I want to differ a little bit and say, more than just a picture, give us a number, give us how tall they are. Pantu wamuntongoli mwipi, nishudi mwipi, you know, if we were very realistic. So ichimutinga chipi, nishi chipi. Number tekuya muku ivika po, ati imu mwebantu turefuaya 2 meter pause or 3 meter pause. Ero numba ka 1 meter, kaya ivika po na kukena na inewi nendi kamuti. No. It's not 1 meter. It's 3 meters. Yeah. So number 3, how tall are those? Are they 3 meters? Bantu chimuti, namchale pasha, in common sense. Chimuti namchale pasha, processing always shortens it. Which means namlepo a 3 meter pole. Bachishimba. Ngamlefu ya 3 meter po. Tadi ni shikut kula chimi titili 4 meters. So we've got Professor Kasonso like we've never had him today. Now batulondolera pakia fuel. Ero batulondolera kona panono pa Zesco. Muleti poshani Bachishimba wetu.
Firstly, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Munshya.
Good evening, Bachakwethu.
Good evening,
Iliash Zesco, I just wanted to say that one, it's very important that when we are on public media like we are, we have statistics. I know people who were not PF, but who are business people who were given orders to supply POS to Zesco. Now, the only reason, and Zesco has been clear, the reason they've not gone back to Zambians is because some of them have running contracts and they're delivering at a slow pace. The other reason they've gone out there is because we have this backlog. Remember, this backlog is not household only, there's commercial. And right now, the country is battling with currency issues and there is no liquidity. So the idea is, let's quickly bring in POS. We connect people, Ababa commercial, they start their businesses, production starts rolling in, we keep the money in the country. Now, you will note that in the past, of course, empowering the locals was abused by certain regimes, especially the last regime, where a lot of middlemen were created, fake suppliers, all kinds. The idea of giving locals to supply is also to manage the currency. Imagine if from day one, Zesco was going to South Africa and Zimbabwe directly. It meant that we're going to be getting our money, leaving it in those countries. When you give your locals, and this now takes us to the Citizens Empowerment Economic Commission, why they've been established, BE in South Africa, is because you want to ensure that there's liquidity, there's money amongst your people, and also your economy is growing.
If we have middlemen, let them be producers. Not that they are linking, because in introduce a middle person.
Increasing the cost of the
I totally agree with you.
I would rather do it because in the end, it's people that are going to benefit.
I totally agree.
The benefit of Zesco is to the people of Zambia.
Yeah. I totally agree with you.
Much more expensive in order to empower
empowerment.
I totally agree with you. The challenge.
Because if you increase the cost of obtaining those, it means more foreign currency is going out. So that is the middleman is what is going to damage the currency because it increases the cost. And quickly
we have 1 minute.
Bapombeiros na bamanbayari mulebe bukusha balaba middlemen abali mkushita abasha ero bashite kubasongo balaba pombeiros na bamanbayari ebali abashupapo bakakata sana ebali ekosha no mutengo wabasha bapombeiros tatwa ishweshine baba pere but mutu Zambia ne bamambala the middlemen bamambala bene mu business ya Zambia.
Okay, let's give Bachishimba some time to finish her thoughts.
Mr. Munshya, sorry, Dr. Munshya, I was saying, the middlemen, the middlemen arrangement was abused. I've mentioned that.
Right.
And part of that abuse was obviously inflating of prices, bamotabachina deliver, but now babadi pila. Right. Initially, the idea was let's also empower local people. Now, here's the challenge that we Zambians face. And when I'm talking about we Zambians, I'm talking about all of us on this forum who all talk about the pause. Has anyone, this issue of pause didn't start now. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, there's been a problem. We're just at a point now where it's reached its peak and everyone can feel the pressure. But has anyone, whether in government or private, ever thought of, can we sit with Zesco? What are your exact specifications? Ayama plantations, where can they be grown Zambia Bwino? So that 15 years from now, 20 years from now, the biggest supplier of POS to Zesco will be a Zambian. We will talk like this in 2026. You and I will be on this forum. We'll be discussing the same thing. I think the solution now, after we've seen the problem, is can we quickly engage Zesco, those that can, and say, can you publish AMA specifications? Can we loop in the Ministry of Agriculture? Where can these POS grow? The youth have no jobs. Can we start these 4 plantations? Yes, the results won't be now, but 10 years from now, 8 years from now, Zambia will be self-reliant when it comes to their own electricity POS. For me, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we need to look forward.
Munshya, just 30 seconds before you close. I just want to concur what Jacqueline Balanda. Munshya, you remember I said SATA stopped a tender which was overpriced 10 years ago. So we knew we needed those logs 10 years ago, that specification. Why didn't we invest in improving capacity that time? Then Munshya, Jacqueline has made a very important point. Zesco, why didn't they work with the Zambians and empower the Zambians? Find other Zambians, buy a plantation. The best example is Nakambala Sugar Estate, Kumazabuka. They empower local people there to grow nani ifisali tabamu kushitaku Zimbabwe ifisali na South Africa.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bachilufia. This conversation must continue. I know that Mr. Mapanza Nkwilimba has a program tomorrow, getting in touch with constituencies. Mr. Nkwilimba's program does go straight to the constituencies to get feedback from the people that are actually on the ground. Tune in to the conversations with the communities and the constituencies tomorrow. Nkwilimba, are you ready for tomorrow? Oh, I think we've lost him there. This has been a presentation of TVBAKWETU, and we've had Dr. Kasonso like we've not had him in a very long time. Dr. Kasonso's show is coming up on Monday, one-on-one with Dr. Kasonso, so you can catch him there. Tomorrow, Saturday, it will be Mr. Mapanza Nkwilimba. On Sunday, it will be the Linda Banks show, and then several other programs that are going to come at 16 hours on Sunday. I think Frank is back again with a motivational talk and everything else. This has been a presentation of
there is another program at 7 o'clock Zambia.
There is another program at 7 o'clock Zambian time, and it will be hosted by Mr. Patrick Chilufya. So Sunday is very loaded. We have Frank Saliki at 16 hours, 7 p.m. We have the show that Mr. Chilufya has talked about, and then the Linda Banks show on Sunday. Good night. God bless you, and God bless our country.